In school, I couldn't tie my shoes right, and I wanted to please the teacher, and so I would start crying. That's the first memories I have of trying to make everyone happy and trying to be perfect for everyone else. High school was a horrible time. I was teased endlessly. I started sleeping all the time. I started telling my mom I was sick in the morning so I wouldn't go to school, and I'd have headaches. Things were going downhill, and that's when I first started thinking about suicide. I knew something was wrong, and one day I thought, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm going to kill myself. And I went to a teacher at my high school, and I didn't even know her that well. She just seemed like the kind of person I might be able to talk to. And I said to her, Trudy, I'm going to kill myself today. I can't do it anymore. And she drove me around Green Bay for 4 hours, talking me out of it. I spent probably half of my senior year in the hospital. And, I went through shock treatments there, and they didn't do any good. I was so doped up on drugs, and I was so lost. I felt like I was in this dark hole, and I couldn't find my way out, and my parents didn't know what to do. I'm bipolar, so I go to both ends. I will sleep for 3 or 4 days at a time, and then there'll be days where I get maybe 3 or 4 hours a night of sleep, and then go to no sleep, and then my moods escalate. And I walked into the art therapy room, and the art therapist wanted me to paint my feelings. And I basically told her what she could do with her paints. And she said, okay, I'll teach you to draw. And she did, and every time I'd really get angry on the unit, they'd stick a pencil in my hand, and I would draw. And when I got out, I started taking classes at the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, beginning drawing first, and then about 5 years ago, I started painting, and I do my work on commission now. In a way, that art therapist saved my life when she taught me to draw, because it opened up like a whole new thing for me to try. And I really was horrible at first. I mean, I couldn't draw worth a darn. It gave me something to think about rather than the dark thoughts. I think that therapists and peer support people and case managers are all good to a point. But unless you are willing to even try, you will never get better. You have to come to that point where you change your brain to think, this is not how I want to be. Yes, I don't feel good, but I don't have to be somebody that is always wanting to hurt themselves. And I had some psychiatrist, a particular psychiatrist at Rogers that I trust more than anyone in the world. And one of the things that I so liked about him was that he was human. And he came down to my level, and he would sit with me for a whole hour and say, you know what, the drugs are not the key. You need to keep doing your artwork. I have to do my own coping mechanisms and what works for me, but I've learned to breathe deeply. I have a mantra that I say over and over and over again on those days that I just want to give up. And, I talk to myself, and I give myself positive affirmations. And basically, I'm using all those things that they said in the hospital that I thought was such BS. And I think, oh man, I was such a horrible patient, and I wish that I could just tell everybody that these things are good, But I think that people have to find it in their own way. This January, I started volunteering at the secure detention facility downtown. I went in there, and every other week I teach 8 of the special needs inmates. They are mostly chronically mentally ill men. I teach them art for an hour and a half. And these guys have been wonderful. And they know that I have bipolar disorder. They know that I'm not like a trained person. Going there every other week, it just gives me a sense that I'm giving back to the community in some way. I think everyone should get out and volunteer, even if it's 1 day a week, because it really gives you a feeling like, yes, I am worthwhile. I found that maybe I couldn't work full time. Maybe the stress was just going to be so great. But if I can give of myself, if I can just make one other person feel better, that's a purpose in life. And you have to have a purpose to keep going on. And, I might have a day where I'm so depressed I don't want to get out of bed, or I can't settle my brain down because it just wants to go higher and higher and get angrier and angrier. And I know that that's there, and I have to I have to deal with it, and I just have to know that the next day is a new day. But it's possible. It's really possible to feel okay.